welcome to NetKno, the networking show. So in this episode, I'm a bit excited about this one because this is 100%, without a doubt, always the biggest issue for people, well, most people, when it comes to going out and networking and building relationships. So this episode, we're going to talk about confidence, okay? We're going to look the beast in the eye and we're going to tame it, okay? So this is all about giving you, hopefully, a really practical tool that you can use so as and when you need it to give yourself that boost of confidence to walk into that networking event, to approach that person, to go on that stage or to put yourself on that podcast or whatever it is that's going to help you network and build relationships and go out and achieve all your goals. So what I want you to do is I'm going to give you a little task, okay? So whether you're driving, you're in the office, whatever you're doing, you're at the gym. If you are, well done, good for you. Whatever you're up to, I want you to take a minute and I want you to think about a time when you felt proud of yourself. Okay, so what were you doing? What happened? Why did you feel proud of yourself? And this could be something like really huge, like, you know, you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, or you jumped out of an aeroplane, or like it could be massive, or it could be something that you just did that made you feel really proud of yourself. I did this activity once with a group and there was a woman and I loved her. And she was like, I asked them to share, you know, the times when they felt proud of themselves. And for her, it was the time that she made this lemon tart and it was really good lemon tart. And she was just dead chuffed with her lemon tart. And I was like, go on, lass, good for you. You make that lemon tart. And she was just dead proud of it. So I love that. So yeah, it could be something really, really big that you did. And, you know, it took years to build up to it. Like you passed a really big exam, or, you know, you got your degree. Or it could be something like making that lemon tart. Or my sister once, she rang me and she was absolutely buzzing with herself because she'd used power tools to put up a shelf in a house all by herself. And she was just like, over the moon. I'll never forget the tone of her voice. I've never heard anything like it. But for her, that was a massive achievement. And to be fair, I've never done that. So like in my eyes, it's a big achievement as well. So think of a time, take a minute. You could have a few things that make you feel really proud of yourself, but take a little second and think about a time when you felt proud. So there's a lot of currently chemical things going on in your brain. And this is all to do with lobsters. I shall explain. So, wonderful book called 12 Rules for a Chaos-Free Life by Jordan Peterson. And he talks about his first rule is that you should stand up tall like a lobster. And he talks about and explains the fact that lobster brain activity is really similar to human brain activity. So they've done a lot of studies into lobsters' brains and what happens in there, what goes on. And in the world of lobsters, there's a massive hierarchy that exists. So bless them, lobsters are pretty gangster. When lobsters have a fight, they fight to the death. I mean, like limbs and eyes are getting ripped out and gouged. So before they get to that stage of having the fight, they go through a lot of other stages. And the first thing that they do is a lobster will look another lobster up and down. And by the way it stands and the way it carries itself, it'll think, yes or no, I can take that lobster at a fight. And then they'll progress to stage 2, which I think is something like, I think they like squirt hormone profiles at each other and like read each other's hormones. Crazy. Anyway, worth having a read. But the reason that a lobster can tell by looking another lobster up and down as to whether or not he thinks he can take him in a fight is because a lobster who has previously won a lot of fights stands up taller. It's got its shoulders back, it's strutting its stuff around the tank, you know, and this is because a lobster that wins at fights, every time it wins, its brain gives it a reward, and that reward comes in the form of a chemical release of serotonin. And serotonin is one of our human happy hormones. It makes us feel good, and it makes us, and it makes the lobsters stand up taller, makes us confident and appear confident to the other lobsters. So a lobster that sees one that stood up tall, it's like, oh no, he's won a lot of fights, him, I don't think I could take him. Versus a lobster that sees another lobster and it's like, you know, shoulders crouched over, it's facing down, looks a bit sad, and you're like, oh, I could take you, come here, and off they go. So This is very similar in the human world. So if you see someone walking down the street and they're like, head up, shoulders back, strutting their stuff, you look at them and you think, oh, wow, they must be doing well. They're winning at life. Versus someone, if you go to a conference or an event and the speaker walks on stage and they're like, again, they're hunched forward and they're looking down at their shoes and you're like, oh, I don't feel, you don't have confidence in them as a speaker because they're not portraying confidence in themselves. And in the book, Jordan says that you should, regardless of whether you're winning or not, you should stand up tall like a lobster and tell the world that you're a winner and they will treat you as such. Well, I want us to go a little step further. So, in order to get that chemical hit of serotonin like the lobsters do when they go out and have fights, I'm not going to ask you to go and fight each other at networking events. Not appropriate. I do not recommend it. However, there are different ways that us humans can get a hit of serotonin and therefore a chemical hit of confidence. So there's 3 ways. First of all, we can do a lot of exercise. So if you're one of those people at the gym, well done you. But when it comes to going networking, it's not very practical. Going for a run, going exercising just before you go to a networking event. Yeah, it's going to be sweaty. It's going to be smelly. It's not going to be great. So going out, exercising, yes, doing that consistently over time, your body's going to reward you with the endorphins, but also the serotonin makes you feel confident, which is lovely, but not practical for this situation. The second option, healthy eating. Lots of healthy diet, fresh fruit, vegetables. Again, our bodies reward us for eating all this lovely healthy food by giving us, if we do it consistently, giving us this chemical hit of confidence, making us feel good with our serotonin. But again, not very practical when it comes to going networking, eating a bushel of apples before you walk into an event. It's a lot of apples. I don't know how many's in a bushel. There's 12 in a dozen. If you know the answer to that, please tell me. However, option number three, this is where we can actually use it. So the third option, to give yourself a chemical boost of confidence as and when you need it, is upon reflection. So by taking a minute, by reflecting on all of your past achievements, all of the things that you are amazing at, what makes you awesome, all the skills you've got, your best qualities. When you take a minute to reflect on those things, you are tricking your brain into giving you a chemical release of confidence in that moment. So we can use our past achievements to give us the boost of confidence right here, right now. So what I want you to do is, I'm setting you a challenge. What I want you to do is I want you to write yourself a little lobster list. And this could be on your computer. It could be in a diary. I've got mine in my phone with the little lobster emoji next to it because it's fun and it's cute. And I want you to write a list of all the things that you are amazing at, all the things that you are brilliant at, your best skills, your best qualities. I want you to write down all the things that you've done that have made you feel proud of yourself. If you've won an award, if you've passed an exam, if you baked an awesome lemon tart or put up a shelf, whatever it is, put it on the list. And then moving forward, anything new that you achieve, so any new goals that you reach, if you get a new client, if you get a new promotion, whatever it is, add that to the list. We're very busy people, I get that. We don't have much time, and often we achieve things, we get that new client, we get that promotion, and straight away we're on to the next thing. Right, what's next? Right, tick, what's next? You need to take a moment in the moment that it happens to acknowledge it, to give yourself that, do you know what? I've done awesome. I like to reward myself with things. So like if it's a really big achievement, it'll be like a really new, like awesome pair of shoes. Or like, I'm all about the food. So maybe a nice takeaway, going out for a nice meal. Acknowledge the achievement when you achieve it. But add it to that list, and then as and when you need a little boost of confidence, so you go into a networking event, you're feeling a bit nervous, you may be having one of those days and you're like, oh, it's all going wrong, there was no petrol in the car and the traffic's bad and there's all these barriers. Give yourself a second before you walk into that room, in the car, on the train, go off to the toilet, take a minute, read through that list of all the things that you have achieved, all of your amazing skills and qualities, and know that in that moment you are giving yourself that chemical boost of confidence that you need to then go out there and absolutely smash it. You walk into that room like you own that room. You are the most confident lobster in the tank. So you go out there, you walk in there, and people will respond to it. Just watch them. Just watch how they respond. So go up there. We don't want to be cocky, obviously, but we just want to be confident. Giving yourself that boost in that moment, it can be an absolute game changer. And the more rooms that we walk into, the more people we approach to say hello to, the more stages we step onto, the easier it gets. And then that confidence builds up over time. Each achievement we make is like a brick in a wall that we are on the top of, and it boosts us up. And make sure that you just keep adding to that list, and you keep taking those moments as and when you need them. And pretty soon you won't need the list as often as you do now, but having it there to begin with, it can be an absolute game changer. So hopefully that is a really fun, practical way to give you that boost of confidence you need to go out, to network, to start making these connections, building these relationships, and just going out and talking to people. So I would absolutely love to hear what is on your lobster list. What have you got on there? Have you made an amazing lemon tart or put up a shelf or done some DIY? Tell me whatever it is. So make sure you get in touch, in the comments or on Twitter or LinkedIn or wherever. And hopefully this really helps to give you the boost that you need to go out there and just be the absolute boss that you are. So there you have it for this episode. As always, if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell so that you know when the next episode's released. And if I don't speak to you beforehand, I shall see you then.
A Liquid Studios production.